Recently I spent 12 days on a spontaneous solo trip to Portugal. And it did turn out to be a trip of immense growth, wholesome moments with strangers, but also a lot of embarrassing ones, moments of doubts, moments of fear that naturally arise when you travel to a new country all alone. For me, the scariest part of an upcoming trip is the night before. Anxiety, fear, doubts, mind running. Why did I decide to do a solo trip again? Something like that. But once I was in the car, once I was on the train, at the airport, once I was on the way for good with no way back, the fear just vanished. And it slowly got replaced by anticipation and joy for the trip ahead. And after a 4-hour flight, I arrived at my first destination, which was Faro. In total, I spent 3 full days in Faro, but already on day 1 I understood everyone that said that you shouldn't stay very long in Faro because it's more of a city you just fly to go somewhere else. And I mean, Faro is very pretty. I loved the old town, but there honestly isn't much to see. But I tried to make the best out of it anyway and take things more slow. I walked around a lot and, of course, ate even more. As a change of scenery, I was very happy to make a day trip to Taveira. A very beautiful city with great beaches and honestly not the best ice cream. At least the one I had wasn't really it. But overall I loved the town, everything was so pretty and it was a great change from Faro. And before this trip I've never been to a real hostel before, not alone at least. And as I'm quite an introvert, shyness and anxiety really hit hard for a while. But weirdly enough, I think that made me more comfy in staying at a hostel was me deciding to use the fridge. I know that might sound weird, but at first I really was a bit shy about it. And another thing that made me more confident was some people talking to me, just having some very light conversation. So at Taveira I took a ferry to the beach all alone and it turned out to be so easy. Also through that I found a lot of confidence that I was able to figure it out all on my own, do it all on my own. And I know this sounds very simple, but for me it was a big win. And very happy to leave Faro behind, I took a train to Lagos. I remember the first day when I arrived there, I was blown away by the beauty of the city, how alive the city was, the people, and so many great guitarists. I'm really on fire, man. So I really fell in love with Lagos nightlife, although I never really stayed out late, but I just love listening to music, have dinner and having some of the best food I've ever had. I just loved the vibe at night. But as much as I loved going out at night, I discovered when traveling to a city with a beach, I am definitely a morning person. Welcome to Lagos, the prettiest city I've ever been to. Good morning. It's the first time I'm tuning in this video because really didn't feel comfortable filming in public. But today, this morning, the beach is very quiet and it's so beautiful here. There's no doubt at this point, Lagos is my favorite city I've ever been to in my whole life. It's so pretty. Surprisingly, the water is really warm this morning. I wasn't in very long because no one else is in there. Like, I was so close to the shore, swimming around because I'm scared of sharks. In the dark waters, which I mentioned 100 times already on this channel. But it was really refreshing. And I feel like on this trip I aged like at least 5 years because my forehead has way more lines now. Which is so crazy. Maybe I'm just dehydrated, I hope. I haven't worn sunscreen on my face every day. Just one day, I think. But hopefully like that doesn't make that much of a difference. I feel like usually it doesn't. But I have way more lines. Like I aged 5 years within 3 days. I really love it here. Before I was quite bored at Faro. The day I arrived, I ran around the city a bit and then I was already bored because there's not much to see. Now I feel like I'm coming back to life in Lagos. I spent a lot of time exploring the city, eating great food, exploring all the amazing beaches, reading, watching people, and being very lazy some days. So today we're doing an early morning beach walk.
Was it all just a dream, just all in my head?
It's so pretty.
Floating rivers upstream, the things that you said.
Walking to Ponte di Piedade was the only real sporty thing I did this trip. I mean, I was walking a lot, but besides walking around, I originally had planned to do a 4-hour bike ride to like an amazing beach. But then once I was there, once I experienced this insane heat throughout the day, I really couldn't bring myself to do it. Honestly, not even imagine it. I feel like the earlier you come, the better. The early bird catches the worm. Truly.
I try my best to move on, to let it go.
And then one morning that arrived way too fast. It was time to pack things up, have a final breakfast and catch my bus to my last stop on this journey, which was Lisbon. joy of exploring a city for the first time hit again. I had this feeling of I want to move here until I realized in Lisbon you walk a lot uphill, and especially in summer that's very exhausting. Just arrived in the hostel and it is so pretty compared to the 2 hostels I've been to before. Before I stayed in rooms with like 9 to 10 people, and here it's only 4, so this feels so luxurious. And already the check-in is so different. Like, they gave me a whole map and like recommending me things that I can do. It's so nice here. I think it's such a luxury. It's so beautiful to stay in a hostel that is more luxurious, like that is more expensive. I feel like it is so worth it. You pay just a few euros more, but it is so more comfortable and you feel so much safer as well. Yeah, so I really love it here so far. And then funny thing, every time I'm arriving at a new place, it's been the same with Lagos. I'm looking up rent prices. I'm looking up like, how much does it cost to live here? Because I'm always so blown away by the beauty of the cities. And the first impression is always, I don't know, the best feeling ever. And then you kind of get to know the city and realize, like, even if you'd live there, you'd live the same life, just in a different city. Yeah. So nice here. It's so quiet.
Llegaste a mí como una luz de primavera, con aire puro que libera mi corazón. Llegaste a mí con amor libre y sincero. Lo que yo siento es verdadero amor por ti.
Looking back now, all throughout the trip I experienced so many embarrassing moments. Misunderstandings with waiters, misunderstandings with people, talking with strangers, and then not understanding a thing because they had such strong accents. But then through those moments you really learn not to hold on to those things for too long. I mean, embarrassing moments can follow you, and every now and then you think back to those moments. But when you're traveling, so many of those moments are happening, and that really taught me to just let it go and not to think about it for too long. Really just to put it aside, because it happened and it's over. But that is really hard to do. So. On this whole solo journey, I found the most relief when I did a day trip to Sintra. Being surrounded by so much nature, it felt like coming home to myself. From the busy city to lush green gardens, birds singing, and so much beautiful silence. I did visit 2 palaces. Really loved the way they looked, almost like Playmobil. So that was really fun. And loved the gardens, of course. I was walking through them for hours and there was still so much I would have loved to see but had no time to. So if I ever come back, I will definitely revisit Sintra and explore everything it has to explore. And especially here in Lisbon, I realized that I took way too much baggage with me, way too much clothes that I didn't wear, way too much stuff that I didn't need. And although I loved filming everything and making this video, taking my camera equipment really made me paranoid. So I dragged everything everywhere with me all day, every day. Well, perhaps I shouldn't have read all those horror stories before the trip. Finally, on my last day in Lisbon, I was just catching up on some more essential monuments. Sitting, chilling, reading in a park, eating more food, so much food. And ending my trip to Portugal with the most stunning sunset surrounded by this vibrant energy, so many people. It was amazing. And this simple moment now is for sure one of my favorite memories of the solo trip to Portugal.